Coming up tonight, Prime Minister calls for transparency in government entities. New airport decree implemented. And Consumer Council calls for control on gas prices. Good evening, I'm Sandra Arsan. The Prime Minister has set down the ultimatum with regards to the running of government-owned enterprises, stressing that higher economic growth needs to be maintained and in a transparent manner. The head of government made this statement while commissioning the new Wairiki chip mill in Bua.
This week opens a new chapter in the history of Vanuatu as the first ever pine chip mill was opened by the Prime Minister, Vorenge Bainimarama. This was a historic time for the province of Bua and for Vanuatu as a whole, as this would mean landowners will now be able to have their trees harvested, processed and then exported without much delay from Vanuatu without having to fork out more money to have their pine logs brought to Viti level. While opening the mill, the head of government revealed that the commissioning of the mill had taken 15 years, which was a very long time. Bainimarama says it was the corruption within the previous management and people not knowing their jobs that saw the project being dragged on. While commissioning the mill, Bainimarama stressed it had taken the current new management less than a year to get the project up and running, adding such effort and dedication is needed in government.
It's been almost 15 years in the making, but Fiji Pine was for too long fraught with corruption and terribly mismanaged. All we saw were delays. We could not allow this to happen in this or any public enterprise. Fiji must run its own public enterprises as private enterprises do. There must be accountability and results.
The current chairman of Fiji Pine, Faiz Khan, also echoed similar sentiments.
Prime Minister, we have given you many debriefs over the last 1 year on our work and our achievements in Viti level and here. But I remember distinctly, and it was plainly obvious, that every time there was mainly one thing on your mind, Wairiki. On behalf of my directors and my management team, we are proud today to hand Wairiki to you and your people, Prime Minister.
Bainimarama also added that the work of a diligent few will see the landowners of Vanuatu reap the benefits in the years to come.
The current management has eradicated corrupt practices. They have paid down long-standing debt. They haven't even made record profit. In addition, they are investing in the forest, the factory and in human capital, making this day possible for the people of Vanuatu and all the landowners under the Fiji Pine leases in Maduata and Bua. So it is not just Fiji Pine that benefits. The landowners benefit from increasing lease rentals. The people benefit from employment today and growth in jobs tomorrow. Only through good corporate governance can this happen. Only through strong, determined corporate leadership will my government agenda to foster economic growth on all of Fiji Islands be realized.
The Wairiki chip mill can produce 1,200 tons of chip a day, and it's expected that by June, the first shipment of pine chips will leave for Japan.
Government has implemented a new legislation called the Airports Development and Modernization Decree 2012. The decree allows for a one-year tenancy for businesses renting at the Nandi International Airport.
Minister for Tourism and Civil Aviation Sayed-Khaiyum says the Nandi International Airport needs to be a premier port of entry, welcoming to Fijians and our visitors and reflective of Fiji's world-renowned hospitality. So, as part of the move to make the Nandi International Airport a viable commercial entity, the new decree states that the modernizations and upgrades are to be done in a year and are set to provide greater variety of services and facilities at the airport for inbound and outbound travelers. This means that all existing concessionaires or business people operating or renting at the Nandi International Airport will be offered proper and legally binding agreements based on market rates. If they do not accept the new agreements, then other business can make a bid to operate at the airport. According to the minister, the move will ensure the airport is appropriately compensated by commercial entities that benefit from the prime retail location and to ensure fairness for all Fijian businesses. It will further correct practices by previous governments that lacked transparency in how they conducted the tender process and formed agreements.
The Department of Agriculture has pegged the flood damage to non-sugar agricultural sector at $17.4 million. Agriculture and Permanent Secretary Mason Smith says in order to assist the farmers, close to $0.5 million has been set aside for rehabilitation program for farmers. At the moment, the department is working with a number of non-governmental organizations to purchase seeds from abroad. The department is also working with biosecurity to get clearance for the seeds from overseas for farmers in the field. Coming up after the break, Rewa Dairy helps mothers in flood-affected areas. And Qatar Minister pays courtesy call 2 p.m.